Welcome back to the Surpassing Labels podcast, where we celebrate the stories that break the mold and the people who rise beyond the boxes life tries to put them in. I'm Felicia, your host. Today's guest is living proof of what it means to defy the odds and become stronger. Karyssa Kestranek is a traumatic brain injury survivor who was given just a 1% chance to live after a motorcycle crash that left her in a month-long coma. But she didn't just survive, she rose. And now, nearly 15 years later, she's sharing her story to inspire others and remind us all your comeback can be your greatest calling. She's a Good Life ambassador for Cuyahoga County and a motivational speaker. This conversation is one of courage, healing, and choosing life again and again. So let's dive in. Hello, Karyssa, and thank you so much for being here today.
Hello, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so would you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself?
So, as you said, my name is Karyssa. I'm 30 years old. I live in Westlake, Ohio with my dog Biggie, Biggie Smalls. His motto is he can't rap but sure can sing. And my boyfriend and his family in a shared living.
That's amazing. I love that name, by the way, Biggie Smalls. It's so cute.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start at the beginning. Could you tell us what you love and what lights you up?
Yeah. So I love spending time with family and friends. I love going to coffee spots and to restaurants. I love volunteering. I volunteer at the Catholic Center and the Cleveland Book Bank. And I love going around helping out any way that I can.
No, I love that. It sounds like you're involved in a lot of different things, huh?
Yeah.
That's
Try to be at times.
yeah. Yep, that's awesome. So you mentioned that you are a dog mom and your doggy's name is Biggie Smalls, that he can't rap, but he sure does sing. So
Yeah.
can you tell us about the role that he's played in your healing journey?
So he is my service dog. And like, even though he wasn't trained to be my service dog at the beginning, he knows when I'm sad and he'll come sit and comfort me. And then, or he'll like rest his head on my lap and stuff and just make sure that I'm like feel his presence, and just to make sure that I'm happy. And then he'll wait till I rub him and say, I'm okay, Biggie. And then sometimes I'd give him a smile and then he'll jump down from me. And then, or if I give him a fake smile, he'll do like a little shake, like, girl, quit playing.
He sounds so sweet. What kind of dog is he?
He's a Shih Tzu, a
Oh,
Shih
really?
Tzu poodle.
Like a little guy, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. So that's the name fits, huh? Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Big at heart.
oh, okay. All right. So on September 24th, 2010, your life changed forever. What do you remember about the accident and what was it like waking up from a coma?
Before that, like I used to be able to play sports. I ran track, basketball, played football with the neighborhood boys, and I was about to enter MMA. But my life changed forever when I was waiting for the school bus. My boyfriend at the time stopped and asked would I like a ride to school on the back of his motorcycle. Without a helmet, I hopped on, but he had one on. When he started heading in a different direction, going 80 miles per hour on a 35, I asked, where are you taking me? You're supposed to be taking me to school. With no reply, he kept driving till he hit an oncoming van. From the motorcycle, I was thrown off, hit the van, then was thrown at least 50 feet and hit a metal pole. I was unconscious at the time, and two wonderful ladies pulled over. One called 911 while the other gave me 4 rounds of CPR. I was rushed to the hospital and I was in a coma for a month. While I was in that coma, the doctors were saying that I was brain dead. They said we only give her a 1% chance to live. While I was in that coma, I had several surgeries. From part of my skull being removed to relieve pressure, I had a trach placed to help me breathe. I had a G tube so I can eat and drink. I I have a metal rod in my right leg because I broke the femur bone, one of the hardest bones in your body. I broke it in 3 places. I have a plate in my face 'cause I had a facial fracture. I had a deviated eye, so I've had 2 eye surgeries, and my mouth was wired shut until I pulled them out and hid them under my pillow. And from there on, I had to relearn everything all over again because I had a traumatic brain injury. And so when I came out of my coma, I was dependent on everyone to supporting me for everything I needed, from getting up to sitting up to brushing my hair, brushing my teeth, helping me get dressed, feeding me. I had to relearn all that all over again. In 5 months after my crash occurred, February 4th, 2011, I got to come home from the hospital. And my mom waited a little while and then handed me the article of who my crash happened with. And I said, Mom, that don't change anything. You have raised a fighter. And I wanted to go to court. And when I went to court, I found not only was my boyfriend the driver of the motorcycle under the influence of alcohol, but cocaine and prescription drugs as well.
Yeah.
And from that, he got 4 years in prison, had his license suspended for 10 years, and had a paralyzed arm that he'd have amputated. And when he was in prison, I did write to him. And because me putting all the blame on him wasn't no good because it was my bad decision too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is so much to go through, especially at such a young age. How old were you exactly at that point in time?
I was 16, a sophomore, and he was 19.
Oh, goodness. And you know, sometimes when we're teenagers, we don't necessarily make the best decisions. And just the fact that you're able to sit comfortably now and talk about it and realize that, I can't place all the blame on him because I actually had a part in the choice too. That just shows a huge growth in your mindset. And I'm really proud of you because it takes a lot for a person to step up like that. So you should be
Well,
proud of yourself.
thank you so much, and I am,
Yeah.
because also like the quote that I have tattooed on me that I came up with, that I got my bracelets, never a victim, forever a fighter,
Oh,
and I will never give up.
that is amazing. Amazing. So
Thank
you
you so
you said
much.
that you were in a coma for a long time. How long did it take you to come back to yourself, like to be able to start doing things more independently?
Little by little, because whenever I first came out of my coma, my mouth was still wired shut until I pulled them out. And like then my mom would come visit me in the morning and then leave for like an hour. And then I'm like, Mom, I haven't seen you in years. Where have you been all my life? And then like slowly but surely, that's what speech helped me with, is to keep like writing stuff down, to say, oh, I did this and I did that and I have to do this. And I'd have to check it off when I completed it.
Hmm.
And like still to this day, I have memory problems here and there, like names. Faces I'm good at, but names, it takes me a little while. And sometimes that's why I have to write notes in my phone and set alarms for me to remember things. So like that's gonna affect me for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're still taking it in stride and finding the tools that you need to be able to do what you need to do. So that in and of itself is just amazing. So that's awesome. Awesome, awesome.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. All right. So doctors gave you a 1% chance of survival. Yet here you are, nearly 15 years later. When did you realize that I'm here for a reason?
I've always realized, like, said that, and my goal was always to like tell my story and present it to like young kids and old ones, like young, like ages from all over, because when you're young you think you're invincible. I thought I was invincible and nothing would ever happen to me, but a choice that not only affected my life forever but my family and loved ones too. And so for me, going telling my story to make an impact, and like my motto is, if I can change and save one life, that can be one life each year or just one life in general. Then me being a motivational speaker, telling my story was meant to happen for a good reason.
Absolutely. And even if you do just reach that one person, that one life, you don't know how many people they can touch in their lifetime and how many, the ripple effect that it could potentially have. So it's huge and it's amazing what you're doing. And I know it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to step into that space. And I'm just so glad that you are taking those steps to share your story, to make other people aware, and to help people realize that, even though we sometimes may make choices that in hindsight may not have been the best for us, we can always choose to make something meaningful out of them for our future. So
Yeah.
I think that's huge. Huge,
And
huge.
if I may also add, like people's like, if this would have happened to them, they would have been mad, hating on the world, saying like, why this have to happen to me? And how I looked at it differently. They said that is amazing, because when people say, oh, my ex should rot in hell, I always say, then so should I. And they was like, why would you say that about yourself? Because he didn't force me on them back, you know? And like I don't really remember, because having a traumatic brain injury, I don't remember my childhood much, and let alone starting that new school year off. But I always say, if it was my poor decision to get on, whether I did know he was under the influence or not, you know? But it's, you got to be stronger than that and just never give up.
Yeah, and I think that really shows a lot of what your heart and who you truly are on the inside is made of. Okay, so healing is never like a linear process. What are some of the hardest moments after the crash that you can remember, and what kept you going?
My, like when I first was able to, I had to stand in a stander for an hour every day, and I wasn't used to standing for a little while, so it hurt me. So I'd cry and complain, and then the nurses would feel sorry for me and let me sit. And it took that one time when my mom came there, I didn't stand in it for an hour. She just left me without saying goodbye, you know? She just, and then they was like, that was mean for you to do. And she was like, I know if I didn't do it, then I'd be, she wouldn't be as far as where she's at. So she's like, I had to do it to push her, so she knew that if it, yes, it's gonna hurt, but it's also gonna help. And then from then on, I'd always stand in my stander for an hour and sometimes 15 minutes more. And I'd call her up. I'm like, Mom, I've been standing in it for an hour and 15 minutes. Please come visit me. And sure, like, sure, it was just like an hour that I had to stand in it. And they said, that's so mean. Why would you do that? She said, I had to.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes the things that we do as parents come from a place of love. And I'm glad that she was able to push you gently in that way, because she's absolutely right. It's like you don't know what you're capable of until you make yourself do it. So yeah. No, that's a great story though. I love that.
Also, when like when I first started using RTA and stuff, I was always in my wheelchair because I wasn't able to walk, especially by myself without assistance. And the one time one of the drivers looked at me and seen I was in my wheelchair, and I said, "Hi, how are you?" He looked at me again and seen I was in my wheelchair, and then was looking around to see who said that. And then I waited a minute and then still no response. So I tapped him and I said, "How are you?" He goes, "Oh, you can actually," I was like, "I can actually what?" He goes, "Talk?" I said, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" And then he looked me up and down. I said, "Just because you got to look me down, don't literally look me down."
Oh, yeah. You're like, I have a voice. I am here.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's like I got a big one at that. Ah!
Oh, that's awesome. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's hard whenever, you're out and about and people, they don't really see you. They see like the extension of what is going on in your circumstances, but I really hope that like sharing your story and sharing this podcast helps people become more aware that actually start trying to see the people, not just the circumstance.
And like I say, I don't have a disability. I got a different ability, and I'm not handicapped. I'm handy capable.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. I'm gonna use that one.
Please go ahead.
All right. So now you're using your story to inspire people and save lives in conjunction with your motivational speaking and being a good life ambassador. So what does this mean to you, and how do you hope people feel after hearing your story?
So I hope that they like whether that they are doing drugs or alcohol, that they're careful about driving and stuff, or who they're hanging out with. And also if they are in a situation, whether it's like they gotta pick up a box but it's too heavy, that they never give up. There's always a way. And when there's a way, there's a will. So just keep chugging along no matter how long it takes you, because here I am almost 15 years later, and I'm slowly making progress, And my long-term goal is for me and my boyfriend and our dog, Biggie, to get our own little place together. That's why we're in this shared living, because his aunt helps us both to being able to get more independent, whether it's with cooking, cleaning. I'm doing a lot better with managing my money and everything, but it's amazing to be here. I've been here for almost 2 years now, and I've never like would have been able to do this if I would have went through what I went through.
Yeah, yeah. And just being able to have that support too, I'm sure is huge, especially for you trying to gain the independence that you want for your life. So I'm sure that is a big, big thing for you.
Yeah. But it shows how independent that I have gotten to leave my mom.
Yeah, absolutely. So since we're talking about family and that kind of thing, what kind of role has your family played in your healing, and how have your relationships been through the experience?
Like some family like slowly disappeared, but then the real ones stood by my side, like my dad, my mom, sister, and brother, and then my aunt, uncle, even though that they live in Vegas now. But my family has always stood by my side, making sure I never gave up. And when things got a little hard, they made sure that I still did it. And sometimes I'd be like, I'm a disappointment. All my family has told me, no, you have went through some of the hardest stuff, but you still rose above it and never gave up on your dreams or yourself. So that is a major plus. And they would always remind me that they was proud of me.
I think that support and that encouragement is so huge, especially when you're healing and trying to find your way and trying to gain the independence that you want. I think that is so wonderful, and I'm really glad that you had that support around you.
Yeah.
All right. So many people listening are silently surviving. What's something you wish someone had told you back then when you were fighting to come back to yourself?
Like there's always someone willing to listen. You just got to find that right person and to help you, and sometimes even just like having a little journal, and each day you write something that you're blessed to have or to be able to do, and then go from there. And then whenever at the end of each week you go back and look at it and like, oh snap, like I really did accomplish something this week, or I did something good this week. And that is a blessing, because nowadays in this cruel world, there's always people that are going to judge you and trying to bring you down, but then you got to keep reminding yourself that don't stoop to their level. There's always something to be proud of yourself for.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that idea of writing it down in a journal too, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in the day-to-days and those moments. If you don't take time to like reflect on them and write them down, you just forget and they slip
Yeah.
away. And if you have a way to keep track and to go back and be like, oh yeah, I did this. This was pretty cool. This happened. It just makes you that much more grateful for the things that you can tangibly see that you've done instead of just trying to think like, what did I do this week, you know? So I love that idea. That is wonderful.
And then also with me, that's why I love taking selfies, because they help me remember the good times and stuff. And so, like, there's been like a few, like, Karyssa, here you go again with your selfies or your pictures. And it's like, yeah, because that's what helps me remember the good times.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't even have to be just written down words like a photo log too. That's awesome. I love that.
Top of the camera.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. All right. So are there any final words of wisdom or anything that you would like to leave our listeners with today?
That if you're in a situation, to never give up, and if you don't give up, you'll achieve great things. And also, everyone out there is never a victim, they're forever a fighter as well. And to me, that quote, how I came up with that, is because no matter what, no small or big the situation is, if you just keep striving and just keep following your heart, you will do great things in this world.
Yeah. Forward movement is forward movement, whether it's one tiny step at a time or if you go leaps and bounds, it's still moving forward. So I
Slow
love,
and steady wins the race every time.
yeah, I love that. Oh, goodness. Well, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed hearing your story and thank you for sharing it with us today, Karyssa.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and feel free to go to Cuyahoga Board of DD and look at everything that we do as Good Life Ambassadors, or if you need a motivational speaker or a good quote of the day or something, feel free to contact me as well.
And I will be sharing Karyssa's information in the show notes, so please take the time and look her up because she is amazing. So, all right. Okay.
Thank you.
What a wonderful conversation. Karyssa's story is a living, breathing reminder that you are not your circumstances. You are what you do with them. Her resilience and her heart are such a gift to the world. If you felt something stir inside of you during this episode, don't ignore it. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for choosing growth, healing, and truth over labels. Until next time, keep embracing the extraordinary within the ordinary and keep surpassing every label placed upon you. Thank you again, Karyssa. It's just been wonderful. And thank you, listeners. Until next time, this is Felicia signing off.